Control is a 2004 released action thriller directed by Tim Hunter.
Ray Liotta's Ray Oliver is a death row inmate who is executed right at the start of the film. However, this execution is faked, so he can be enrolled in an experimental drug trial. And this new medication is designed to sort of suppress aggressive and violent behaviour. Dr. Copeland, who's running this trial, is played by Willem Dafoe. He warns Ray that there could be side effects, including deep remorse and things like that. And yeah, he starts to experience flashbacks to his crimes, particularly the injury he caused to an innocent bystander. So yeah, he starts to feel very guilty about that. He starts to sort of turn his life around, but his past is always, threatens to catch up with him.
Well, this is one I picked because I'd seen it. I don't even know why I'd seen it. I think because we've done Tim Hunter. Tim Hunter did River's Edge,
yeah,
which we did on the channel, which is an old film that I really enjoy. So perhaps I was going through. I sometimes look at directors or actors, people I admire, and then I go back and kind of see what other films they've made, and that's possibly how I came upon this one. You didn't know this one, did you?
No.
I mean, it's straight to DVD. This one.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it when I saw it. I mean, there were holes there, and it's not 100%. It's not like it's not like one of those unheard films which is amazing, and you need to go out and watch it now because you've completely missed out on a really big thing. It's not one of those films, but it's got some great stuff in there. I mean, Ray Liotta is always great.
Yeah.
And his performance here is really good, I think.
I mean, I thought while watching it that they could have almost played, they could have swapped roles because Willem Dafoe is known for sometimes playing a bit crazy.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they either of them could have played both roles.
Definitely, and I think their performances here really make this film shine because it could have been easily like any other straight to DVD films.
Yeah.
There are issues with this film, but I think the two leads really stand out here.
Yes.
Specifically Ray Liotta. I mean, he's good at playing. I mean, you know from Goodfellas, he's perfect at playing that kind of unhinged, psychopath, which I suppose Willem Dafoe is good at as well. I mean, I was thinking of other actors. Michael Keaton's another one like that who sometimes plays kind of unhinged characters really well. I think Ray Liotta's part here was actually originally going to be Matt Dillon.
Oh right. Okay.
Who possibly is someone else that could slip into that role quite easily. But I just think his, it's a really interesting film. This, I mean, so obviously the setup is he is this serial or this psychopath killer. Well, he's not really a killer.
We only really see one crime that he does, don't we? Where he's obviously he seems to be robbing some drug dealers, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and
he
shoots them all, runs off with the money and or drugs. And then, this bystander I mentioned is just on the stairs as he's leaving, and he shoots him in the head.
I mean, you don't realise then that he's not been killed.
No,
that comes into it later. So of course, but anyway. So he's on death row. He is a nutcase. The way he just talks to people, he's got no remorse whatsoever. No. He's just he's just a cold-blooded. He plays that so well. You're kind of at the point where you deserve to go, mate. But then of course, when he starts taking these drugs and he does become remorseful, you actually start to feel sorry for him.
You do. The film makes you sympathise with him, and it does sort of give you a bit of backstory on him. His upbringing wasn't particularly good, as it often isn't for people in these situations. So it sort of stealthily makes you feel sympathy for this guy when you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, indeed. That all happens, and there's this whole kind of sequence in a lab where he's being given these drugs, and at first, he's a clever kind of psychopath, and he doesn't take them, and so of course he then tries to escape in a kind of exciting action type scene, and then he's obviously caught and he's put back, and he actually kind of starts taking these drugs, and they start working for him, and then they take him out because they can't obviously keep him there forever, and they're doing these drug trials, so they send him out into the real world with a clip on his, a thing on his, a tracker on his ankle.
And then he's got tattoos and scars.
Oh yes, they removed all that, and his beard and everything. But then the film kind of, it shifts gear a little bit. And in fact, if you read a lot of reviews about this film, most people say the same thing, is that the beginning, the first act is really strong, and interesting and doing something different, but then it kind of goes downhill and ends up with a bit of a rushed ending. Obviously, we don't do endings and we don't do spoilers on this channel, so we won't go there. But it does kind of.
I mean, the thing that bothered me was that obviously, he's let back once he's been on this trial. I don't know. The passage of time is a bit sort of fuzzy. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It obviously, 1 minute they've taken some of his tattoos away, and then later on he suddenly wakes up and he's got no tattoos and no scars.
Yeah. Which, as you know, take a long time to...
I mean, it's not that easy.
No.
I mean, removing a tattoo leaves a scar.
Yeah.
So...
And it's completely, clean.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I've got some amazing plastic surgeons working for them. But anyway... So quite how much time is supposed to have passed, I don't know. Anyway, he seems to be, these drugs seem to be doing the trick, and he is remorseful for his crimes, and the aim is to, if this drug works, they want to, anyone that takes it, they want to reintegrate them into society. However, they reintegrate him into society not far from where he originally committed these crimes. So it's like, why would you do that? If, they fake his death, give him a new identity, but then put him where people might recognise him. So it doesn't make sense. Move him to the other side of the country. It doesn't make sense.
I probably, it's interesting because the first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. I kind of really went with it. I didn't like the ending. If you know the film, if you back up a couple of minutes, there's another bit that should have been the ending. Would have made a better ending. The issues watching it a second time are definitely there, and I think it's a bit. I mean, it's an action thriller. Most action thrillers have plots that are a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you kind of give it a pass for that. But like you say, there are issues here that are kind of like. I don't know. Did they have budget issues, or did they have script writing issues, or because there are things that happen which are either quickly forgotten about or things that don't make sense like that, and which is a shame because I think the setup is really good here.
Try not to spoil anything, but if he goes somewhere where he's not recognisable, then there wouldn't have been any jeopardy. So
well, that's true.
So kind of there would have been any plot.
That's true.
But So
although I think there's also a possible you could have done something interesting here where maybe it was all took place in the lab and it was the whole film was about his kind of
There were definitely other ways it could have gone. Without a doubt. I guess it's just it's another take on rehabilitation, isn't it? So
absolutely.
There's certainly a case that people get institutionalised. They can't reintegrate into society because they've just spent too long behind bars. So if there was some way that they could be reintegrated, if their crime wasn't as severe as old Lee Ray, the crimes he's committed, maybe not. But for lesser offences, far better help people reintegrate into society than spend their life behind bars because they don't know how else to live. You can tell it's low budget. It's filmed in Bulgaria, and
it was.
Yeah,
I wondered that. Yeah, because it's got quite there's a bit of a British cast as well. Because you've got Stephen Ray, who's Irish, and then the agents that are kind of there to kind of keep an eye on him. A couple of them are British actors. Ivan Kay and Nick Brimble, I think they're two actors that have turned up in a lot of British stuff over the years. And then Willem Dafoe's girlfriend in there, she's a British actress. Yeah. I didn't quite recognise her, but she had a British accent. So there's a kind of a British cast in there too. So that's interesting. I hadn't realised that.
And Michelle Rodriguez is sort of as Lee Ray's love interest. Yeah.
She Lost? Was she from Lost?
No, she's in Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh.
And various other
movies. I know of her, but I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Fast and Furious. That's right. I mostly enjoyed it for its performance by, Ray Liotta and Willem Dafoe, but mostly Ray Liotta because I think he does both psychotic really well, and then also when he's kind of trying to come to terms with not being a psychotic
a bit more vulnerable.
And a bit more vulnerable. I think he really does. There was a really nice moment where he goes to, and that's when you find out that the man that he shot did survive. He's now living with his brother, and his brother is kind of having to deal with, his brother, having suffered from this brain injury. of being shot, and there's a moment where kind of Ray Liotta, you're not quite sure why he's going there at first, because you think he's bought this gun for some reason, and you think he puts it in his bag, and he takes his bag, and you're like, so what's going on here? But then he kind of breaks down while he's trying to kind of apologise to him, and you believe it. He's a very good actor, Ray Liotta, I think, and I've often enjoyed, many of his. I mean, Goodfellas is obviously a classic film of his. Unlawful Entry, I always enjoyed. He was in
Copland
that we did, a few we've done actually, and what was the John Cusack one? Identity, which we also covered on the channel.
Yeah.
Lots of great films Ray Liotta's been in over the years. Something Wild, we did that one as well.
A bit psychotic in that as well.
He is a bit psychotic in that too, yeah. I mean, he's a versatile actor, but he's kind of known for playing those psychotic roles. And I think that's probably what I enjoy here, is his performance in it, more so than maybe the film. But the initial setup's good. But you picked this up on DVD,
I did, yeah. I mean, it's no. Actually, there is a behind-the-scenes thing with some interviews and stuff on it. Nothing particularly revealing. Apart from the fact that they were filming in Bulgaria and a lot of I mean, you can tell watching the credits that it wasn't filmed in the US. So yeah, but nothing else on there extras wise. I mean, this is the UK one, which has only got a stereo track on it for some reason. But no, it was I think it's got an interesting premise. Like you say, the two main performances are good, and it could have just gone a different way, I think, maybe, and it would have been a bit more interesting. It loses its way slightly towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It feels rushed, I think. It kind of rushes along. Suddenly, as soon as he's out, it rushes along. I mean, I think all the stuff in the lab at the beginning is for me, the kind of more interesting stuff. The kind of, playing off between Ray Liotta and Willem Dafoe, and that classic, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy, which is a great line that Ray Liotta speaks perfectly well. And because that's, like I said, he's great. He's very funny as well. And yeah, I think all that stuff at the beginning is really interesting. I mean, I recommend, if you don't know this one, check it out. I mean, it's maybe not Tim Hunter's strongest work. I'd say, films like River's Edge and other ones are, but it's different. Which it's not your kind of run of the mill action thriller. It's got something. It's a kind of a nice original idea in there, which kind of gets unfortunately kind of pushed away by a few cliches.
But I think it's definitely better than a lot of straight to video stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's another sort of plot thread with the Russian mafia, isn't there?
Yeah.
Another, the mafia boss is again another British actor.
Well, there's the warden, isn't there? The warden of the prison.
That's Mac McDonald.
Yeah, because he was in Red Dwarf and things like that. Yeah.
But he is American. But yeah, the mafia boss. I forget which.
He's the Nick Brimble. He was the guy that was in Robin Hood.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, there's a sort of a plot thread about that, which I don't know. There's this sort of mob enforcer, or the heavy after him because he killed one of their crew.
In prison, that whole plot line is kind of annoying because it's just like that would, if you were Ray Liotta, you'd be just like, really, I've got him coming after me as well. Can I just get away from and it's like it's just kind of there to be something else, and I think that's one too many things. I mean, the whole thing with the brother of the man he shot, fine, that's fine because that feels quite realistic. The brother kind of. He's like, I thought he was killed. I watched him die in the execution, and here he is again. That interesting. The whole Russian mobster is just like, that's just too much.
Yeah, it's just an excuse to have a couple of sort of foot chases
and some shootouts and all that kind of stuff.
Doesn't really serve a great purpose, to be honest. The plot wouldn't really be any different without it.
That's your annoying cliche right there.
Yeah.
So
some good ideas, some good performances. But I think but plot-wise, it could have been tighter.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it for what it was, and give it a go if you've not seen it before. So that was Control, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, let us know in the comments below.
Hit the subscribe button up there, and don't forget to push the bell for notifications. There's other videos to check out over there. Come and find us on social media, and join us again soon for another video.